Maureen, our newest commissioner, Maureen, are you online with us today? And then for our commissioners and for the public, if you've been muted, to reduce background noise, in the upper right-hand corner there is a microphone. There's a microphone icon of which you can press, which would unmute yourself. If you're joining us via over the phone, you can unmute yourself by *6. Okay. And just checking, Maureen, have you joined us?
Sorry, I just have to. I have my cell phone up there for visual, and I have the computer there for just so you could view the entire room. My name is Nicole Shapiro. I'm a Township Engineer, Director of Community Development, and I'm here with Maureen, our interim Township Clerk, and 3 council women are in the room with me. Council President Mary Sohar. Mary, can you just wave your hand to the phone? Council Vice Debbie Walker, and then council member at large, I believe, right? At large, Anita Greenberg Belli. So and Maureen. And Maureen is there as well.
Okay. All right. You might have to turn up the heat in Ulbridge. Everyone's wearing jackets and scarves.
This room is very cold, but I like to keep them attentive.
Okay. Well, before we actually begin the meeting, with the permission of Chairwoman Engel, County Clerk Pinkin has joined us, and she could administer the oath, which I'm sharing on the screen, that she could give to Maureen so that she can begin serving on the commission. So County Clerk Pinkin, if you want to unmute yourself at this time and do a sound check, and then we can administer the oath, and then Chairwoman can begin the meeting. County Clerk, I see that you're unmuted, but at this time I can't hear you. You possibly, if you're on a desktop, if you could possibly turn up the volume on your computer or desktop.
I can't hear.
Okay. Okay. 1 second, we'll try and
Call him.
You got it.
Don't talk unless I'm being addressed.
Okay.
And Maureen, if you want, when you're swearing in, I would come here, right? And then I would, I'm going to turn the video on so they see you raise.
Nancy, you're still shown as being muted. So you have to unmute yourself.
Okay. I have oh, go ahead, Nancy. Okay, I have the county clerk on speaker with me. She's able to administer the oath. So for Maureen, if you can stand, Nancy Pinkin will administer the oath.
Maureen, you can come here and then you can stand so that this camera is on. You don't see it, but you can stand.
Okay, what do you want me to touch?
Just, no, nothing. They hear you.
The hearing?
So you're gonna just stand right there?
Stand right here.
Yeah.
Yep. County clerk, you can proceed with the oath.
Okay, great. All right, so you're going to say, I'm going to say I, Maureen, you're going to say your name, and then we'll go on, and I'll say the oath, and you'll repeat after me. So
Okay.
say your
I,
name,
Maureen Dollaby,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to this same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established
established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of Ulbridge Township Ward Commissioner
of Ulbridge Township Ward Commissioner
according to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see this up there.
Madam Chairwoman, again, now that the Chairwoman Dolidi has joined us, if you want to begin the meeting, well, we can start.
I can't hear.
And Chairwoman, you're on mute at the moment, so you can hit that icon at the top of your screen to unmute yourself.
I'm on mute.
Now you're good.
Oh, okay. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided with respect to the Home News Tribune to publish the same, as well as posted to the Middlesex County Board of Elections website and the Ulbridge Township Municipal webpage. This announcement must be entered into the minutes of the meeting. For those listening to the meeting, please be aware that all Ward Commission meetings are recorded via audio. Roll call.
Ward Commissioner Engel.
Here.
Ward Commissioner Franklin. Ward Commissioner Frankel.
Maria, he is present.
Okay, Ward Commissioner Katz.
Here.
Ward Commissioner Moskowitz.
Here.
Ward Commissioner Jallo.
Here.
Ward Commissioner Benjavenga.
Here.
Ward Commissioner Dolan.
Here.
Madam Chairwoman, you have
A motion to adopt the minutes of the December 16, 2021 Ward Commission meeting. Second. Roll call.
Ward Commissioner Engel.
Yes.
Ward Commissioner Frankel.
Yes.
Ward Commissioner Katz.
Yes.
Ward Commissioner Moskowitz.
Yes.
Ward Commissioner Jallo.
Yes.
Ward Commissioner Benjavenga.
Yes.
Ward Commissioner Doherty.
Abstain.
The purpose of the meeting will be to take testimony from the public on the establishment of ward boundaries in Ulbridge Township that will be in effect for the next 10 years. Also, the commission will begin its meeting receiving testimony from Remington and Vernick on the current Ulbridge ward map and the federal census numbers requiring changes to said map. Remington Burdick. Nick.
Alrighty, so I'm going to share my screen if that's okay. Can everybody see this chart that is currently on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
this is the reallocated 2020 census data for Ulbridge Township, split, for each ward 1 through 6. We take the reallocated total of 66,933, divide that number by the amount of wards to get 11,156. Then take 10% of that number, divide 1,116 by 2 to get 558. We add 558 to the mean or the average ward population to get a 5% ceiling, and then we subtract that number from the average to get a 5% floor, which gives us that 10% deviation of a minimum and a maximum that all the wards need to be within to be compliant. And as you can see in wards 2 and 4, ward 2 is out of compliance and low by about 400 plus people. Ward 4 is out of compliance and low by about 100 people. And Ward 5 is out of compliance and high by about 900 people. And these are how the numbers fall given the reallocated 2020 census population totals per ward in Ulbridge Township. Now I'm just going to pull up the Ulbridge map that represents these ward totals. I'm gonna just run through it now. So you got Ward 1 is over on this right side. That was in compliance. Ward 2 was low. Yeah, Ward 2 and Ward 4 were low. So here's Ward 2 here, which was low. Ward 4 was also low, and then Ward 5 was high. So we needed to, in order to bring those numbers into compliance, we need to take population out of 5 and get population into wards 2 and 4. And just for the record, I want to state that it's population, not voters. It's population based on the statutes. And I'm going to bring the chart back up to show, and I'll continue to share my screen. But yeah, that's Ulbridge as it currently is represented today.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Madam Chairwoman, before we go into the public comment portion of it, if you want me to kind of review the process of where we are now, because we do have a good number of people from the public to kind of help kind of explain the process that we're in at this current moment. Madam Chairwoman, you might be on mute, so just to click the icon again.
Okay, proceed.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. And then, again, from my end, if I'm muting people, it's only because we do have a good number of people on. So to kind of reduce the background noise for people speaking and so they can hear, I may mute people from time to time. As a reminder, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a microphone icon which would unmute you if you need to speak. And if you're participating by phone, then you would be able to do it through *6. Okay. And if I could find that, I have a lot of emails open.
5 minutes per person, Tom.
Yes, correct. And I'm not able to see that the screen. So just to, I usually have something I would share, but just to kind of give the members of the public some information. The ward commissioners are meeting in terms of their obligation under state statute, which provides every 10 years. Ward lines need to be redrawn due to the federal census, which is also done every 10 years. So me, I'm admitting someone into the meeting. So as part of that obligation, the state certified the population numbers for all counties on September 16th. The ward commissions needed to hold their first meeting with 90 days therein of, which we did on December 16th. And then we have a month from that period of time to be able to approve a final map, which the deadline would be this Saturday, January 15th. I don't know if Nick had said it about the redistricted census data. Nick, did you mention that when you were speaking in terms of the redistricted?
You're talking about the reallocated population?
The reallocated census data, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give a brief. I can give a brief description about that right now if you want.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So the state actually provided. They released census data, and then about a week after they originally released the data, they realized that they needed to release a reallocated census population totals, which are basically just taking the people that are currently in a prison and putting them back to their last known address. So say there's a prison in Ulbridge, Ward 1, all those people would be taken out of the population and the population total and put back to their last known address for the reallocated population totals. The totals previously provided to a week before they released the reallocated data included those people into where the prison is, and that messed up that spiked numbers even more than they already are.
Okay, and thank you, Nick. And again, that change in terms of the census data was done by state statute and within the last year, which is why that might change from the I guess the previous census data might have been received. Okay, Madam Chairwoman, if you want, I can we do have a number of people from the public in the meeting. I can go through, as I did for the previous meetings, call on those people if they would like to provide public input or public
Sure,
input
go right ahead.
on the map. And at the same time, Nick, if you want to post the current map for so as members of the public are speaking, we have a reference point. Okay, thank you. I will go through now, and I'll just and again, just for those that are on your laptops or computers, at the upper upper portion of your screen, there is a hand and a smiley face. If you click on that and you hit your raise hand, I can call on you as we're moving through if you want to indicate if you want to speak. But the same portion, I will make sure I touch base on everyone that I see on the screen to see if they would like to speak during the public portion of the meeting. So the first person I see that is listed as Pat Gillespie. Mr. Gillespie, do you wish to make a public comment? Okay, seeing none, moving forward. Mr. Shaw, Himanshu Shaw, I see that you're in the meeting. Do you wish to make a public comment? Okay, seeing none, I see a Matt M as listed as a meeting guest. Is there a Matt or Matthew that's in the meeting that we wish to speak? Again, as a reminder, if you want to unmute yourself, you would just hit the microphone icon or *6.
So it's Pat Gillespie. I'm sorry, I couldn't get off mute fast enough. I apologize.
Okay.
Just a question is there, so I understand there's public comment this evening on a preliminary basis, but will there be an opportunity for public comment based on what the commissioners may vote on at the next meeting? Will there be additional opportunities once a draft map can be reviewed? That's my question.
Yeah, I would defer to the ward commissioners for how Friday's second meeting would be run.
I'm not sure about the second meeting, but we have 2 alternate scenarios maps that have been available. And that's what, so you can certainly talk about those. Yeah.
Sorry so is there an opportunity for written comment, I guess, if we're not able to make a verbal comment this evening?
Yes, as part of the notice, which I'll reshare, Ms. Green, and I'll actually put the email into the chat. If you desire to submit a written comment, you can submit a written comment to the elections email, and that will be shared into the record with the commissioners before they make a decision.
Thank you.
Let me share that agenda so you can see, if you're on your computer, you can see that email, and I'll also put it into the chat for purposes of for those joining us. And for the next one I see is Ulbridge Township guest. I would assume that's Nicole and your group in your war room as it is. I don't know if any other council people or anyone else wanted to make any comments.
Nick, I'm gonna speak on their behalf if you don't mind, only because the computer is directly in front of me, and we are trying to, get you guys to get a visual on all of us in the room. Just so you know, I'm not in here by myself, but I am sharing the room with our township clerk and 3 councilwomen. We did have an opportunity, or I had an opportunity tasked by our council, mayor, and administration to take a review of Remington and Vernick's the current plan in this new format, as well as the alternate 1 scenario and alternate 2 scenario. I would like to share my screen with you all if that is possible. I could certainly try and share and see if that'll.
Sure, and you can probably do that option through the, there's a share option next to the microphone to the right of the icons there.
Yeah, let me just see if I can get that up there.
Yeah, why couldn't we see it?
Okay, so do you see that presentation that's up on the board, up on the screen?
Yes, it may need to be blown up just a little bit for the other members of the board commissioners to see, but.
Okay, let me just see if I can get that. Hold on 1 second. Okay, how's that looking?
Looks great.
Okay, so I know you mentioned that this this update comes every 10 years, and I guess when I had spoken to Mr. Lynch on Thursday, when I was tasked with reviewing the changes, that was the discussion that we had where the original map was from 2011. So this map here, and you could see in the lower right-hand corner, it does have space for a signature for the board commissions at the time when this ward map. But this to us is what we were going by as far as where the voting would take place in our ward and our districts. Now I had compared that to what was sent over in this. You could see that there's nothing in this lower right hand corner where you had your alt 1 and alt 2 scenarios, and this when Mr. Lynch had forwarded to me, he had said that this is the current. And what I did was I compared this map along with that 2016 version, and I did find that it did match, with the exception of the congressional district line. So, and it's a little bit difficult for me to see here, but in this map, we start down here by Spring Valley Road, and we meander up. And if I look at that 2016 map versus this, it seems to match up, except when we get to the intersection of County Route 516 and Cottrell, on the 2016 version, it goes straight up. It goes straight up Cottrell and then meanders off. In this version here, it seems to be following 516, and then I believe, and I don't have this the paper copy in front of me. You know what, Mary? Somebody hand me that. Okay. The 11 by 17 is fine. It seems to go up one of the brooks at that scenario, but it seems that there's a discrepancy between that 2016 version and what is shown on the current map. Again, the one that's identified as not having the scenarios at the bottom, since this map and the scenario map are all dated December 16. But it looks like it might be, I believe, let me, hold on one second, let me just get the larger map. It might be Warren's Brook tributary that it travels up. Again, in the earlier iteration, that 2016 that I showed you, it was shown as going straight up Cottrell. That sort of puts more people in Congressional District 12 and taking them out of 6. So we wanted to make that note. What I had done was, you know, I noticed that previous map has a lot of color on it. It gets quite convoluted when you start looking at all the colors. So I would recommend that the base files be monotone black, whites, and grays, and then we highlight the wards, the congressional districts, so we could clearly identify what's switching. It was nice that the maps did provide sort of a cheat sheet at the bottom here, but what I had done for the benefit of council in the room, mayor and administration, just wanted to highlight to them what the areas are that we're shifting from one ward to the next. And you'll see I identify in this case Ward 5 to Ward 6, Ward 4 to Ward 2, and really it's just highlighting and double checking what you have on the bottom. Of course, I can't verify census data, but just to give a visual to the council in the room with me. This is just a closer view where I highlighted the areas that were shifting from one ward to the next. And then this is scenario alternate 2, where this was the population was really just shifting from 2 wards. It was 5 to 4 and 4 to 2. So things were coming in and going out of 4. As a summary, this actually, based on council feedback, seems to be the preferred alternative. This is just a close-up view of that. I actually went a little bit further when I was looking at the parcel data as your base layer. I don't know how much importance it is on the final document, but I find it, to me, quite important for the map when it is finalized to have that parcel data updated. I am hoping that when you're looking at census data, that it is representative of what was built and moved in as far as 2020. If you notice, this portion in the upper left-hand corner is a piece of one of the alternatives, but it's the same in both alternatives. And on that base mapping, the current mapping, it has parcel data in the background that is not really indicative of what is out and constructed and lived in as of the census data. If you see here on the aerial photography, I am actually circling McCormick Avenue South. And these residents were there. So in this parcel-based data, you see the central Barclay Brook Village in the parcel data, which is here in the aerial, but you don't see the residential components as far as McCormick Avenue South, Woodhaven Commons, and Woodhaven Meadows, which is representative by this, rudimentary black outline that I have. So, and then, I went a little further and I said, okay, well, we do have parcel data that's just that is a bit different than what your base layer is. So, and of course, this is what we call our Oaks 1 residential development that's currently in construction. So the census data would still be 0, but I think that the base mapping is important so that when this is finalized and people start moving in, they have a correlation to where their parcel is and where their voting is. That allows a little bit more help and aid in identifying that should somebody contact our clerk's office and say what block and lot they are. We then correlate to the map, etc. So, internally here at Ulbridge Township, we came up with just a couple of questions as it relates to the couple of slides that we're presenting to you tonight. One is, where is the parcel data source? Many parcels not shown. Latest township parcels that we have are dated 2020, but it doesn't appear that the updated version is what is used in preparation of these maps. Can census layer, I see that census track and that data layer. If you could talk a little bit more about the legend itself is just a box with 2 numbers. There's a larger number on top and a smaller number on the bottom. Just if you can give us a little bit more clarification as to what those numbers mean, and if that parcel layer in GIS, that file can be given to Ulbridge Township, as we maintain a very large GIS database. And then our clerk's office had requested today to Mr. Lynch if we could show the polling locations as per the clerk's office request. And Maureen had sent that request over to Mr. Lynch today. And then, a couple of days ago, or maybe even yesterday, I had asked Mr. Lynch if he could give us a list of the streets that are affected for both alternatives. We do see the population, but I think more importantly to us, we're just looking at a listing of the streets. Certainly I can come up with that listing, but we wanted it to be official from you guys. Those are our preliminary questions right now. Certainly we might have additional questions as public comment comes forward, but we just wanted to make sure the commissioners on this call, as well as the public, know that the scenario that we are looking at or favoring would be scenario or alternate 2. And then if we could have our comments addressed.
Okay. Nick, did you want to jump in and kind of reply to anything that Nicole had brought up?
Yeah, absolutely. Really appreciate all your comments, concerns, questions. So I know I will have to check on the parcel data source. I'm pretty sure we we downloaded that from the Middlesex County website, but I need to double check on date that was downloaded to verify. I know that we were provided the 2020 reallocated census population totals from the state Division of Elections, and we used that data as the guide to all movement changes, anything as far as the new ward boundaries. We can only go off of what we were provided, and so that's as far as the census box. I have no problem providing you with the census block information that we were given. I just would like to verify that I can do that through my boss, Kevin Zielinski, and if I would need to, I believe, verify with the be given permission by the ward commission to pass that along to you. Although I'm not sure, I don't want to step on anybody. I don't want to do anything I'm not allowed to do.
Okay, that's fine.
And I know that when we produced the current, the Ulbridge current map, and as well as alternate 1 and 2, this was actually prior to the adoption and the word's escaping me right now, but the state released the new up-to-date congressional boundary, and it's actually different from, you actually had a map on the PowerPoint that had a blue line.
Right. So what I did, I'm gonna reshare that. 1 second. Let me see, is that up yet?
Because that
Wait
line
1
actually,
second.
yeah, represents the new congressional boundary perfectly.
But so what happens is your current, and then the current and the alternate scenarios did not match. So that's why it was a little confusing. Just 1 second, please. Hold on.
Yeah.
So, for example, when I started, I was looking at this map, which is our 2016, versus your, what I call current, soon to be old. And I look, now this map does not match that 2016 one. Again, the problem is here with Cottrell and this small area right here. When I go to the larger ones, for sake of my eyes were, I couldn't, there was too much color. We scanned it, printed out black and white, and then I follow your congressional line with this blue highlight. Now in your Alt 1 and Alt 2, the blue line matches, but in the 2016 one, we are down here starting at Spring Hill and meandering up Valley Vale and getting us to 516 and then going up Cottrell. Now, this congressional line differs with this little piece here based on your 2016 and your current, but in your two proposed scenarios, you're way out here starting at Morganville Road. You know, so that's why it was a little bit weird to us as to why it went from, we didn't get any notification that the congressional line was changing. Was there any notification?
I'm not sure. I know that the state provided I know some people, I'm not sure.
Right, so Nick, direction that we received, and I when we were caucusing before in the room before, and I was trying to explain some of the changes I had seen, and really this to me is a big change because I was told early on when I was getting involved, oh, don't worry about the congressional district, it's not changing. So that's why it was like, well, it's a little bit odd between the 2016 and your current, which could have been operator error. But to be totally shift to Morganville Road from Spring Valley Road is really shifting the line completely east, giving more to Congressional District 12 and less to Congressional District 6. That seems a bit odd to us.
Right, and I know that I believe I misspoke when I said the current map or the map that we provided that shows the original congressional line that before this map.
Yes. This one.
We did that map prior to the congressional districts being provided to us from the state. So that's why that line is kind of going from that little jog and then cutting it through. Then we were provided the congressional district boundaries that were released. Once we got those.
Okay. Can you provide me documentation, or maybe this is a Mr. Lynch question, can there be documentation provided to Ulbridge Township that shows when that congressional district boundary line was revised? Remember from this, because your current and this yellow line for the congressional district match, except for that small little area in the northeast corner, right? Mm-hmm. How did it change from this line and your current map to that proposed scenario? So I guess my question to the board commissioners.
If I can help with the discussion. So in the chat, I shared two documents for your review, which one is this reallocated redistricting data that was provided by the state. And the other one was the New Jersey Congressional Redistricting Commission, which they adopted the new congressional maps on December 22nd. So I guess that kind of adds color to the conversation, is that when, for Nick and his firm, they were probably working on the maps as the congressional lines were being redeveloped. So there was an approved map for all the congressional maps in New Jersey on December 22nd of 2021, if I can clarify.
So there is approved map, and okay, and so there's an approved congressional map. I don't see anything in the meeting chat. I just got out to look to see if there is anything in there. I don't. If whatever you put in the chat, if you could just email me that, I'd appreciate it.
I'll do it right now.
Just so we could see what the approved map is. Now, I'm on a laptop that's just a generic laptop for the township. I don't have my emails on here, so I'm not going to be able to view it now, but we will definitely take a review of the congressional districts, and I'll print that for council and also for our clerk's office so that they could see the revisions. Can I ask further how the congressional district lines, what was the trigger, let's say, to change it?
So I know that we're not the author of the data, so I do not want to speak on that.
Maybe Mr. Lynch or somebody from the Board of Elections.
It's Nicole, I think it's similar to the obligation that the ward commissions have to do, that every 10 years there's a congressional map that needs to be drawn, as well as a legislative map that needs to be drawn, and there are different statutory guidelines in terms of that. But yeah, so I know that there's a legislative map that's going to be developed and boundaries done, but the congressional one was done at the end of a year.
So is the change driven by population, by census, by what drives it, or is it just a 10-year tickler that comes out in 10-year and now we got to look at the line again?
It's determined by statute and it is determined by population. So each, and again, I'm off my expertise, but each congressional district has to be of an equal size with and again, I think there's a built-in variance as well. So again, it's determined by population, and then it's up to the commission. It's a statewide commission or to form new congressional maps based on the census data.
Okay, let us review the information that you're sending us, only because if it is by population and you're moving that line more towards the east, you are actually almost putting 3/4 of the population in 12 and only 1/4 of the population in Ulbridge in 6. So if you could send us that information and we could then caucus about it here before our meeting on Friday, that would be great.
Yep, I'm sending that to you right now.
If I can, I can add something. The congressional district lines are set by the congressional district redistricting commission, and that's done. So they determined where that line was in terms of potentially moving and adding more to either the 6th congressional district or 12th. That was done by them. We need it for purposes of seeing where the line goes. So hopefully it does not cut in individual election districts. The congressional districts are virtually have to be equal. There is not more than a half of a person or one person different between the 12 congressional districts in New Jersey. We, under warding, to do rewarding, have essentially a 10% variance from the top to the bottom. In the congressional districts, there's 0 variance essentially permitted.
I see. So it might look like it's a quarter of the portion of Ulbridge, but that congressional district number 6, the population which expands outside of Ulbridge, it then is equal to then the congressional district number 12. Again, once we see the map, I think it'd be more clearer to us. Unfortunately, I'm at a disadvantage because I'm using just a township laptop instead of my own, since we're in the conference room.
Each of the 12.
I appreciate the explanation. Thank you.
Each of the 12 congressional districts in the state of New Jersey has precisely the same population, plus or minus one person, because you can't split a person. So the lines are moved for those purposes.
Okay, plus minus one person. Okay, I got that. And then one of the questions I had, I know our clerk's office has polling locations that they would like to see on the map to make sure that we're not bisecting or we're not creating an additional issue with our polling locations, because our polling locations, you know, especially with our schools, they have been pretty consistent year in and year out. So we just wanted to make sure that our polling locations don't get affected. And one other question that I have that I didn't put on that last slide, in the scenarios, Nick, that you had sent over, there are purple asterisks that are represented on the map, and they're called election. I'm sorry, they're oh gosh, it might have been on your original map. It just calls out where the ward council member lives.
The elected officials.
I just want to make sure any final iteration would then delete that from there.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And so on both scenarios, we do show polling locations, and we did get the polling locations that Tom Lynch provided to us just earlier today. I just want to verify that what we show matches what we were provided today, and I'll have a better I'll be able to look at that a little further tonight.
Yes, I just saw that the flags represent the polling locations. I don't think I saw the flags in the current. I think maybe that's why we flagged that as a question. But I do see that. And then, you know, instead of a flag, maybe we could provide a shading on like the parcel itself. Like, for example, if the lot contains, I don't know, one of our schools or a high school, you know, maybe shaded, and then hit that flag in there so it's kind of pops out on the plan because it was hard to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I think, and I'm just gonna, let me just go back to, again, the census data you're gonna take a look at just to see, I'm sorry, the parcel data. You were gonna go back and just give me a little bit more clarification on your source. And then you're going to see if you could provide me with the census layer. Polling locations are shown, but you're going to probably shade in that parcel layer so that we can see it a bit more.
Yeah.
And then you're going to provide a list of streets that are affected in each alternative. But again, knowing that Ulbridge Township does prefer that alternative 2.
Yes, we're gonna, yes.
Okay, so for now, that was the comments that Ulbridge Township has. And certainly we would love to chime in if there's something else that comes up in the course of public comment.
Sure. All right, Nick, I'll speak to you and prioritize those items for Ulbridge. Continue on for the public comment. Going down the line, Councilman Paschetti is joined us. I don't know if he would like to make a comment.
Yeah, I'm muted, right?
We can hear you now. You're good to go.
Okay, great. I only had one question about the map, and it's in Ward 5, Throckmorton Lane and Throckmorton Lane and Gobb Road. There's a little cut in where the, it's the same on both maps, I believe. But I just thought it was just odd why the line just doesn't go straight up Throckmorton Lane, or on the other alternate map, just go straight up Gobb Road and then come down Throckmorton Lane. I just thought it was a weird cutout, and it's always been like that. Maybe it was an old congressional district that caused that. But I mean, there's only maybe 25 or 50 houses that are affected.
Sure.
Not like it would really make a difference.
Yeah, Nick, if you could share the 2012, the current map as it is, so that people have a reference for Councilman Paschetti's point. Councilman, if you want to just repeat that that area so Nick can highlight it on the computer for those that are able to see on their computer.
Yeah, it's the corner of Throckmorton Lane and Gobb Road,
In which ward?
Ward 5.
District?
It's right at the border of 5 and 4.
Got it. Okay, thank you very much.
I'm just not as familiar. It's got to be somewhere in here. I'm just not sure exactly.
Well, I think if you go to the farthest point, Ward 4 west.
So yeah, I'm in Ward 5. This is Ward 5. Ward 4 is right over here.
Okay, the dividing line is Gobb Road or Throckmorton Lane. Yeah, I think close to it, right?
Right around here.
Yeah. Holly Street, Gobb Road, and instead of why is it cut in like that? And it's always been that way. I believe it was that way for 10 years. It just made more sense to come straight up Gobb and across Throckmorton on both maps. Now on the other alternate map, it would just be straight up Throckmorton Lane. But I just don't understand why you would cut in like that. It's just illogical for those, folks that live in that area. It's like they have neighbors that are in a different district, different ward.
Yeah, I unfortunately cannot speak on why the ward boundary is currently the way it is. I was not around for the 2010 census. I don't know if it was changed in 2010. I don't know if it was changed in 2000. If the ward commission would
might have been that way.
Right.
A lot more years. It might go back 20 or 30 years. It just doesn't make sense why you would cut in like that and split all those neighbors, where people across the street are in a different ward. Where you can just come straight up Gobb Road and straight down Throckmorton, and it would not really make a big difference in the numbers, putting those people in Ward 4.
Yep, definitely. If advised by the commission, if they want me to, the commissioners, if they want me to look into that, I can certainly do so.
Okay, thank you. That was it.
Thank you for that comments, Councilman. Going back to those that are in the meeting, I can call on 732-306-2936. If you do want to identify yourself and make a public comment, you can unmute yourself by doing *6. I have a phone number 732-402-3175. If you would like to make a public comment, you can hit *6 and unmute yourself. I have a phone number of 732-991-4405. If you would like to unmute yourself and make a public comment, please do. I have a phone number 732-993-9697. If you wish to make a public comment, please unmute yourself.
Charlie Cradaville, editor of New Brunswick Today. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Cradaville, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'll start by saying that I haven't been able to give my full attention to the meeting, so forgive me if anything I ask about has already been addressed. I know that the importance of clear lines to divide the wards has been made painfully obvious by the recent election that Judge McCloskey voided as a result of ballots being sent for the wrong ward to a little over 24 voters. And I would like to hear from, I guess it's Mr. Phelan, about what role his company plays in the SVRS system and what has been done to ensure that things like that don't happen, and that the voters are assigned to the proper ward and district in accordance with the wishes of this commission. Can he comment on that?
One second. Yeah, so I know we work directly with the SVRS system, and I would rather if you could just kind of give me either put the question in the chat or send me an email. I can provide my email address. I would like to talk to my boss and Mr. Kevin Zielinski, and then be able to give you a better answer, as I don't think I can really speak on right now.
Okay. Can you give me that email address, please?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll put that in the chat.
I am on the phone, so if you could just say it out loud.
I tell you what, Mr. Crowderville, if it's okay, I can email you now, Mr. Phelan's email address, if that's okay.
Okay, great. I would really appreciate that, and want to, begin the dialogue with Remington Vernick about this issue. I've been meaning to reach out for some time. Is the county clerk still on the call?
She is not.
Okay. So I'll have to ask her questions at a future time. But I have no input on this the specific lines to be drawn here. But I do want to thank you all for your work, and thank you for hearing me out today. Have a great night.
All right, thank you. And then I think finally, excuse me, I'm going through and making sure I have a PG listed as a PG guest. I don't know if that person wants to make a public comment. I have Veena Sawant, and I apologize if I've mispronounced that. Veena Sawant.
I have no further comments.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. And again, for members of the public, I apologize if I did not call on you. If anyone else is present and would like to make a comment, you can unmute yourself by hitting the microphone icon or hitting *6 on your phone. Madam Chairwoman, seeing no other public comments, I turn it back to you for commissioner comments.
Okay. We'll open it up now for commissioner comments.
I would just like the public to know that, again, this is a work in progress. Different scenarios as Ulbridge, as other people have submitted, and we'll be able to give, I guess, Mr. Phelan will be able to get everything ready for a presentation, I believe, by Friday, correct? When we meet again.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question. In both scenario 1 and scenario 2 for Ulbridge, can we confirm that both the Republican and Democrat candidate for the ward seat in the redo election still live in Ward 4, regardless of which scenario was selected?
Yeah,
Commissioner, I think I had asked Nick to delineate that on the map for everyone to see where both.
Are they? If that's the case, I'm sorry, I didn't get to see that. That's fine.
Okay, but again, Nick, if you wanted to make that comment, go right ahead.
I'm sorry. I would need to double check on that, Mr. Katz. But looking at, you said in Ward 4, correct?
4, yes. There's a redo election in Ward 4 between the candidates that were on the ballot for the November election. The incumbent Republican, I presumably is on there. I just want to make sure that both candidates are. So if we're moving a line, that we're not moving either of the candidates outside the ward without us knowing it and determining that's applicable.
Sure.
Right.
Nate, to Commissioner Katz's point, those are two individuals with those addresses that I provided, DeCaro and Roselli.
Roselli and DeCaro. Okay, one second. I just, so
If
it's
there's
alternates let's see here. In both alternate scenario 1 and 2, they both remain in Ward 4.
Thank you.
Yep.
Chair Roman, you may need to unmute yourself if you wanted to continue Commissioner comments.
Okay. Any further commissioner comments? There being none, let's have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
Roll call, Maria.
Board Commissioner Engel,
Yes, to adjourn.
Board Commissioner Frank,
Yes.
Board Commissioner Katz,
Yes.
Board Commissioner Moskowitz,
Yes.
Board Commissioner Jallo,
Yes.
Board Commissioner Benjavenga,
Yes.
Board Commissioner Dolidi,
Yes.
So I assume we are adjourned.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay.